Hi everyone, I'm Robin and I'm a virtual business development consultant from the island of Bermuda. Today we're chatting about trying to solve simple audio issues, if we can refer to them as simple in the first place. During my time doing virtual meetings, I have attempted to use everything for audio from my cell phone to my laptop to my webcam to an old podcast mic. I have tried a new podcast mic. I have tried headphones for my computer. I have tried headphones for my cell phone. And every single one of them has had a couple of benefits and a couple of problems depending on the situation that I was attempting to use them in. So today we're going to break this down and talk about a couple of the more advanced options and see if we can give you some ideas that might help to move your virtual business communication forward from an audio perspective. So let's get to that. If you've been watching this whole series of videos, then you already know in my very first video, I talked about how to decide which device that you currently own was going to make you look and sound the best, just the way it was. And if you're satisfied with that, you may not find the rest of this video particularly interesting. But if you are a person who is charging for your virtual services, for example, if you are a consultant or a teacher or a tutor or a music instructor, and you want to make sure that you look and sound really professional, particularly if you're working one-on-one with a person, then the rest of this video is for you. So there are two things that you need to consider. Which microphone are you going to use, and are you using it correctly? If you think about these two things before you even start to record and take the time to do a little testing and optimize your microphone for your recording situation, then of course, what you're doing live face-to-face with a person in a virtual interaction or recording and distributing later is going to sound better. Every time that you get a new piece of equipment, use a new system to log on for a virtual meeting, or change any other variable about your setup, that can have implications for your audio quality. So that means every time even one small thing changes, the number one thing that you need to test, in my personal opinion, is your audio setup. Even if you've used your setup for a long, long time and you think you know your equipment very well, every single time you invite a new friend over to play, that changes the variables and that can change the end result of your audio quality. So let's start with a few basic things. Every single microphone that you can purchase is going to give some sort of recommendation as to how far away it needs to be from your mouth and the angle that it should be facing you at when you are doing recording. That means if you're using headphones, you've got to make sure that the microphone is positioned just a few inches away from your mouth. Now, if you're a large size person and you have a large head, then you're going to find that the microphone dangles at approximately the perfect place right away. I'm not the world's largest person physically. I actually have a fairly small head for an adult. Those microphones always hang way too far down for me to use effectively, which means if I want to use earbuds with a cord attached to a phone or my computer, then I need to actually physically hold the microphone in the air a couple of inches away from my mouth the whole time that I'm talking. Well, in the first place, I don't think that looks terribly professional. And in the second place, it gets kind of annoying for me because, as you might have guessed by now, I'm a girl who likes to talk with her hands. And if I start getting into the conversation and I'm moving the microphone all around, then the audio quality is fading in and out. And even in a live interaction, that can be very annoying for the person on the other end. So you pretty much are never going to see me using any kind of headphone at all. Now, as you already know, my personal preference is not to use the microphone attached to either my laptop or to my webcam, because I feel that in a large room where I do all my recording and the distance that I like to sit away from the laptop, or in this case, away from my webcam, the distance is too great. And so I don't get good audio quality when I use either of those options. So for me, those are a full-on no-go. Now, if you have a very small room or a proper studio setup that has soundproofing on the walls, you might be just fine with one of those. But I don't personally recommend them. One of the other things that's a really good idea to keep in mind when you're recording audio is, if you are moving back and forth and moving all around and jumping up and down and being very, very animated, and that would be really great for a YouTube, sometimes your audio quality is going to fade in and out because you're moving back and forth from the microphone. I've done that in a very exaggerated way, so you can see what I'm talking about. But when would it become less obvious? Well, perhaps you're in a very long meeting and all of a sudden you get a little tired or your back's a little stiff. And the next thing you know, you've slumped way back in your chair and you're not really paying attention to what you're doing. And all of a sudden you have no idea that your audio quality has just fallen apart. And people probably aren't going to tell you. So as much as possible, because you want to be giving a good presentation, you want the focus of the interaction to be on you and your skill, not your audio quality. It's a great idea to just try and remain engaged, stay sitting up in your chair, stay close to your microphone. We all want to be human. Nobody wants to be looking at somebody who's dead and dry and static. That's not fun either. But keep in mind that if you're bouncing all about, you might be messing up your audio at the same time. I've had the best results using what's called a podcast microphone. And I have two. I have the old one that you can see in the screen right now. I've had this one for a long time. It served me very well. It has a couple of quirks about it. First of all, it needs to be about 7 inches away from my mouth, or the audio quality that I'm capturing really isn't sufficient. How far away is that? So if I put my thumb on my chin, it is just a couple of inches past the length of my baby finger. And you can actually put your own hand up and test your microphone distance to see if you're at the optimal distance for recording for the microphone that you have. Second of all, it works better suspended in the air than it does mounted on the desk, even though it came with a stand for mounting on the desk. Thirdly, the angle that the microphone is pointing at my mouth actually matters. This microphone needs to capture sound out of the very end of the microphone. So the tip of the microphone actually needs to be pointed towards my mouth, or you get sort of a muffled, echoey sound that is really hard for other people to listen to, and frankly can make your recording plain old unusable. So for the purposes of discussion, let's talk about an ongoing audio problem that I've been having personally. As I mentioned, at the moment, I'm using one of my older podcast microphones. It's a good quality one by Samsung, and I put a link to where you can get one of these on Amazon. I wanted to improve my audio quality even further, And so I did my research and I bought something called the Blue Yeti microphone. In fact, it's right here. What's the difference between these two? They are both USB mics. You can plug them straight into a laptop and they are pretty much plug and play. You don't have to have any special drivers or software to make them work. This one records sound out of the end, as I've already mentioned. This one records sound out of the front when you are recording by yourself. If you are doing podcasting, it also has the ability to put the microphone in the middle and you can record sound of one person on this side and one person on that side. If you are a rock and roll band, one of my personal favorites, then you can change a setting on it and it can record the musical instruments of the people in the band all around the room. Sounds fantastic, doesn't it? Well, when I had my old laptop, the Yeti worked absolutely perfectly. I made some great audio quality recordings. But I do an awful lot of video editing, as you might have realized by now. And I needed a fancier, more high-powered laptop with a lightning-fast processor inside it in order to run all the sophisticated video editing software that I really like. We'll get to video editing software in another video. If you're curious which product I use, it's called DaVinci Resolve. There's a link to where you can get a free version in the description below, but be ready. It's going to take some time to learn how to use this one. Anyway, I got my brand new HP laptop with my lightning fast processor. And I plugged in my Yeti microphone and I was ready to do all my recordings. I was going to have great video editing, great audio quality. And all of a sudden I noticed that anytime I tried to record something, particularly if I had more than one person in the conversation, this really weird crackling noise showed up in the recording and ruined the recording. And I researched this and I researched this. One person said I needed to change some settings in the submenus of my computer. I tried that, it didn't work. Another person said I needed to plug my Yeti into an external device and then plug the external device into my laptop. I tried that and that didn't work. Well, mysteriously, once in a while it would, and then lots of the time it wouldn't, so it wasn't reliable. So at the moment, I'm not using it. Do I still love this microphone? Do I still recommend this microphone? Yes, I do. What do I think is going to be the solution? Well, as it happens, I have an iPhone. And if you get an adapter, the iPhone and the Yeti are compatible with each other. And as far as I can tell, they are going to play well together once the adapter arrives from Amazon. I'll put a link to that piece of equipment as well down below. And maybe in a future video, I'll let you know how that's working out so that the Yeti will still get lots of use on occasions when I'm using the iPhone instead of the webcam for doing the recording. Was this situation frustrating? You bet it was. Am I giving up on using the Yeti? No, I'm not. Am I finding a way to get my business done, my recordings done in the interim until I have a better solution? Yes, I am. In my experience as a novice when it comes to audio recording, this is kind of how it is. And you have to be very patient and you have to be solution oriented. And there usually is something that you can do, but you have to be a little tenacious about doing a little research on YouTube regarding the situation that you're having and what is a possible fix for you that you can accomplish at home on your own. I highly recommend doing a little bit of research regarding whatever situation it is that brought you to this video. And I hope that this at least encourages you not to give up. If you have the time and the interest, The other thing you can do is you can load a piece of free audio software called Audacity, and I'll give you a link for that. And Audacity has a lot of professional quality audio editing features. And you may very well be able to learn to use that to solve some of the sound quality problems that you might be having if your audio quality is a little bit distorted, a little bit echoey, maybe the pitch isn't perfect. Maybe you have a lot of breathy noises that you want to remove. Audacity is a great product for helping with all of those things. There are lots of free tutorials on YouTube as to how to use the software on an introductory level. There are also lots of YouTubes available on how to solve specific audio issues using Audacity once you have identified one. Let me know in the comments down below if you'd like to see me do a little bit of an Audacity tutorial. I'd be happy to create that for you guys if there's a lot of interest in that kind of thing. The other thing that you can do if you have an audio recording and maybe it was something that involved other people and it wouldn't be really easy to do it again, or perhaps you just don't have the time or the opportunity, and it's just not sounding as good as you would like it to. There is a service out there called Fiverr, Fiverr.com. And on Fiverr, you will find people all over the world who offer services very cheaply, sometimes for as low as $5. And they're doing this to make money, of course, and sometimes the economy that they're living in, a small fee would actually make a big difference in their lives. But you're hiring somebody who is, fully trained and good at what they do, and they might be able to help you out. If you send them the recording, maybe they can fix it for you and send it back. Personally, at my company, we use Fiverr all the time for a huge variety of services, and we've had very good results. So I actually highly recommend them. You will find that if you're searching for any kind of virtual service, whether it's making a logo, there are people who actually could make a whole commercial for you, or maybe do a little audio editing as we're discussing today. Take your time, read their descriptions, read the reviews, pick a person who seems to have some level of experience and they've helped other people successfully. Well, I hope I've given you a couple of ideas and inspired you to keep working on improving your audio quality. And if you're finding this helpful, please subscribe to our channel for more videos like this one soon. Take care, everyone.